Hello everybody, the Nameless Narcissist here once again, a simple man diagnosed with NPD, giving you the facts on narcissistic personality disorder and the stuff that goes on in my head. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. But keep in mind, I am no clinician. I can only speak to my own experiences, but hope you guys enjoy the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please. Alright, so today I found a YouTube channel made by a psychologist, I think. Yeah, she's a psychologist with a PhD. And I was like, okay, let's give this a look over. Carrie Kerr McCoy? I got no fucking clue. I can't pronounce anything. I'm going to link this video in the comments of this video, but regardless. And if I forget, somebody remind me, please. So she basically made a video asking, can narcissists change? And I have strong opinions of that, clearly. And I wasn't a huge fan of how she phrased a lot of things in this video and what she said. I'm going to explain why here. But before I get into that, I want to point out that I have not watched very many of her videos. And I can't make any assumptions about how qualified that she is regarding narcissistic personality disorder. So this may just be a fluke, right? In fact, I saw a really good short that she made while I was looking through her channel. Where she challenged the notion that all psychopaths are narcissists and instead explained why they were different and different structures. Because as I've mentioned in my what's the difference between a psychopath versus narcissist video, psychopaths are grandiose, right? No escaping that, but that doesn't make them narcissists, at least in my mind. And she pointed out how the grandiosity in NPD was more to shore up that lack of sense of self, while psychopaths genuinely believe in their grandiosity. So I thought that was really good. It gave me a lot of hope for some of her other content, but I had a lot of problems with this video, so I'm going to get into this. The first one, okay, I want to point out also that she had a narcissistic ex-husband. So she's probably going to have some strong opinions on my condition. Disorder. Yeah, that's a joke. You'll understand in a second. So basically, she starts off the video in a really bizarre fashion where she talks about how NPD isn't a condition, it's a disorder. And she says that in the DSM-5, there's a distinction in it between condition and disorder, which maybe, but I've read through it and I do not recall ever seeing that distinction. Maybe I'm just blind to it, but the way that she was phrasing it made it sound like it was trying to give credence to the idea that NPD isn't a disorder, like isn't a mental health issue, right? That's not something causing personal suffering. And to kind of challenge that, I want to point out that if there is this difference between condition and disorder, here's some other things that cause, because she was saying all like, oh, like a condition is something you go to the doctors for, you get medication for, and you treat the symptoms, which is what you do with NPD as well. But she was saying that for personality disorders, don't work like that. I think what she was trying to get at is that we will always be narcissists, right? There's no fixing it. But if that's the logic she was going for, I want to point out other things that are disorders. ADHD, bipolar disorder, major depressive disorder, dissociative identity disorder. All of those are also disorders because she said the proof of why this was a disorder, not a condition, is because disorder was in the name. So you can clearly look that a lot of mental health conditions are treated very seriously in those circles are also disorders. Sorry, mental illnesses, I guess. So I'm getting a little passive-aggressive there. If you watch this video, your name, I forget. I'm not trying to throw any shade. Anyways, she goes on to point out that basically, like, people with personality disorders basically have a rigid personality, right? Where most people can kind of pull from all aspects of personality. We're kind of stuck in one aspect of personality. Like, we can only be narcissistic while people who are normal can be narcissistic in certain situations. They can be a little borderline in certain situations. They can be a little schizoid, while we can only be narcissistic. So for a long time, I kind of did ascribe to that. And I do agree with it to a certain extent, right? Our personalities are rigid, as are most people's personalities to a certain extent. I would say maybe a little less so in the case of personality disorders. I need to mute my Discord. I'm so sorry. I should edit this out, but I'm not going to because I'm a piece of shit. Oh, it is muted. It just decided to fucking notify me anyway. Jesus, I hate this. Anyways, but yes, we have a rigid personality, as do most people. Personalities don't really change over time. They do to certain extents. You can better yourself, but so can people with personality disorders. Again, it's a little bit harder with personality disorders because there's a lot of maladaptive coping mechanisms that basically compound on each other to make you make it a living out. But she points out that we are egocentric. She says that she gives this metaphor for most people have a bunch of tools in their shed, and people with a personality disorder might only have one or two, right? Indicating the limitations of our personality. And she goes on to say, but we think that we have all the tools, right? And I agree with this. She kind of glazed over why, but the issue is that we assume everybody else has the same tools that we do. It's not even, it doesn't even come to mind that people might have different tools. I mean, why would we? Why'd we assume that? I'm not looking in your garage. Oh my gosh. And most people also project onto us thinking that we have the same tools that they do, and we don't. And that's where the egocentric mess comes in. And then she goes on to say that, and she kind of, how was I supposed to put this? She goes on to kind of say that because of this, we're egocentric and we don't have any personal suffering and we just cause chaos to the people around us. As somebody with the disorder, not true. We do suffer a lot. It's not pleasant not being able to connect to people. It's not pleasant being angry and neurotic. Though, again, we're egocentric and we may not think it's our fault a lot of the time because in our minds, we are doing the right things that are in line with our morals and values. We still, there's still a lot of suffering with the disorder. It wouldn't be a disorder. It wouldn't be in the DSM if it didn't cause suffering to the person who has it. Nobody is diagnosed just because they're an asshole. Though that would be hilarious. I wish they did do that. Maybe us narcissists wouldn't get as much heat. Anyways. So, and then she points out that there's a list of things that we can't do. Connect, emphasize, that we're prone to rage. And those are our tools, so to speak. And she doesn't neglect that we can, in the course of treatment, we can modify our tools. We can I always use this example, but for example, I can use my cognitive empathy and my fucking meta-communicating, that's a term Mara used and I loved it, to better emphasize in quotes, to be sympathetic, more so. To understand that we are different and try to understand how those things affect them. And that can be very effective in sometimes. My perfectionism has led me to basically go on this journey of self-discovery, needing to know about myself and trying to improve. Yes, we have different tools, but those can also be used to function in better ways. The last one that she said, though, is that we have an inability to reflect. And this kind of made me upset. This one just really gets to me, especially when professionals say stuff like this. Yes, we're less likely to reflect on our actions, right? Because it's normal to us. A lot of people don't reflect who are normal because it doesn't cause them much distress, just the way they go about their life. I mean, and that's why so many of us do end up reflecting, like people with NPD or even people who are hurt by us, because it's why did that go the way that it did? I've even seen so many people who are in narcissistic relationships who are I need to look at some of the things at myself, why I allowed myself to be in this relationship, why I was attracted to this kind of person. I think that's super healthy. And people who are with NPD do that too. We're not animals who are incapable of self-reflection. That's just one of those myths that I really hate. People I always get this argument where, especially when I'm talking about the remission rate, which I'll get to later, that's people with NPD don't go into treatment. And I'm sure a lot of people don't. And it's, people will get defensive when they're called a narcissist. It's it's the asshole disorder. Nobody's going to be told that they have the asshole disorder because all of its meaning as a disorder has been stripped from it in common culture. But, fuck, what was I saying? Oh, no. Oh, I'm going to be so upset at myself. Should have forgotten college. Oh, yeah, but I heard Frank Yeomans, I think it was Deanna Diamond, was giving a presentation. I really wish I had the study that regarding this because I completely forget what it was. I might go try to look for it later, but I'm not sure. She was giving a presentation and she pointed out that the most overrepresented, because obviously if you watch my channel, you probably know borderlines represent the biggest group in inpatient. Well, narcissists actually make up the biggest group in outpatient. We do see treatment a lot, but anyways, because we fuck up our lives all the time. We want to know what the fuck is wrong and we want to be happy. So, yeah, and then she goes on to say that personality disorders are pervasive and stable over a long period of time, which is true. Both of the things I have no issues with, but she didn't point out for this entire video that she didn't even mention really if narcissists could change. Right? She just points out what the reasons are that some of them don't. I'm never going to say stay in a relationship with somebody because you think they want to change. If they're not treating you right, then fuck that. Get the fuck out. But a study that I've linked in my Can Narcissists Change video, which is obviously aptly titled and will be the same as this one, is we have a remission rate of 53% once we're in treatment over a 2-year period, which would probably be higher, but they had some people they just couldn't get in contact with. And on top of that, the most likely trait to go into remission was interpersonal exploitation. You know, the thing that hurts people most of the time when it comes to somebody being narcissistic. So the prognosis is, and there's only a 44% of people with NPD who lack empathy. You gotta remember, this isn't a homogenous group of people. It's a mixture of cluster B traits, more or less. You might have a narcissist who's super empathic. And that's my main issue with this video, or with this woman's video, is the fact that she neglected that completely. She didn't even mention that they can change. Maybe she says on some of our other videos, but the fact that she had a video titled that and didn't even touch on that fact, it's kind of upsetting to me. I'm never going to come out of Victim Channel being like, oh my God, this is terrible, stigma, blah, blah, blah. People need their time to heal, right? They need to get out their anger. But, I mean, yeah, like I feel like anger is an important step in it. But I will point out things like this that will actively discourage people with NPD from going into treatment, because we can change. And to say not is, or to neglect it entirely when you have a video titled that, I think is disingenuous. Regardless, that's basically it. If you guys watch this video all the way through, please don't like go after her or anything or be mean. You can obviously check out her channel if you want, and you can obviously give criticisms and stuff, but don't like attack her. I'm not trying to fucking, I don't know, dox somebody or some shit. Anyways, yeah, that should be it. Hope you all have a good day. Take your fucking meds.